Hello, everyone. I am just making sure that we are live. You guys can hear me. I think we can. I think we're good. I know. I'm hoping the sound's going to be good in here. Um, this is the very last day. I am down in Newport. It's kind of depressing. I just moved, which is great, but it's tough when you have chosen to go somewhere like Newport. I sold my house and I moved to Newport. And then because we're not going to have a real summer, I don't know if you guys are familiar with Newport, Rhode Island at all, but it is very much a tourist town. It's a fun place to be, but it doesn't make any sense if I'm going to spend that kind of money and not have any of the things go on. So, I found a great mill that has everything I've ever wanted in my life right there, which will give me more time to do more things. So I'm really excited. So let me just go ahead and get started, guys. I hope you guys have had a great week. I know there's lots of chaos going on in the world, but, we are here and we are going to do good. So, for those of you guys that do not know me, my name is River Lee. I am the founder of the Savvy Groomers. Too many groomers own a job and not a business. At Savvy Groomer, we teach pet professionals how to make simple changes in their business so they can grow a business that is successful. At Savvy Groomer, we know that you want to be the savvy pet professional with a business you can be proud of. In order to do that, you need to know how to manage your business so that you own a business and not a job. The problem is you hear lots of advice that doesn't actually make any difference. Let's be real. I get so much advice from people that have no idea what they're talking about, which is incredibly frustrating. And I'm sure that makes you feel frustrated, overwhelmed, and like a failure. You've been putting in the effort but don't have anything to show for it. We believe no one's dream should fail. I understand. I learned a lot of my business knowledge from outside the pet industry. I read 4 to 10 business books a month. I go to trade shows and conferences outside the grooming industry. Now I use all that expertise and knowledge to work with clients internationally and have a proven track record. I personally owned my own grooming salon with 5 employees with a membership model. I loved that, but it didn't quite fit what I wanted in my life, so I went ahead and I sold that, and now I own a mobile feline exclusive business, which I love it. So let's go ahead and talk about this week's show. If I can hit the transition. Whoop. Da-da! We're going to talk about why do I need office hours. I know for a lot of you guys, you don't really see a value in office hours, or you may not understand how office hours work. The first thing I want to talk about is as a salon, and then I want to talk about as a mobile. Just going to pop open my notes. What a wonderful day. Na, 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 na. I should have had them already up, but I didn't, because that's life. Yeah. Wonderful. So one way of knowing that office hours are going to change your life. A lot of us, now, it depends on how you have your business set up. If you are the kind of groomer that has your office at your shop or you have your office at home, I generally speaking do not suggest having your quote unquote office at your shop unless if it is somewhere you're going to go even on your days off. As you grow your business, as you become the manager, as you become the business owner, not just the groomer, what's going to happen is you are going to get stuck at work and get dragged into other things. Now, if you own a salon, a lot of times you'll have something up front. Doing all of that paperwork, let's say your payroll or anything like that, it's really difficult to do that up front. And returning phone calls midday for new clients makes things really difficult. If you are beyond the point where you are grooming still, and you are just managing, checking quality and doing all those things, you may not be worried about returning a call. But as you get more and more busy, it's going to make things a lot harder. You then become trapped constantly playing phone tag, especially when if a customer calls you during the day, it's generally when they're on their lunch break or something like that. instead of actually being home. Now, a lot of us have children at home, or we don't want to keep our work when we go home. So having office hours, or at least set hours you're going to return phone calls, may seem really silly, but it lets the client know when you're going to call them back. It lets them know when you're going to call them back, and it sets a time for you to either be done with your day or to start your day with your phone calls. You can do it one of two ways. You can have things set up in the morning, so you can have from 8 to 10 we return phone calls, and also let's say 3 to 5. Now you're still having an 8 to 5 or a 9 to 5 day, but the client knows when you check your messages and how you're going to return them. A lot of us, what happens is we get stuck. So for instance, if you are, so like for me, I'm mobile. So I use an app called Mogo, which has all of that information. And so they have the phone number that they can text and communicate with. Now, right now, being a solo groomer and having one employee, it wouldn't be that hard for me to just text back one client. All my clients are monthly clients. I only have about 100 of them. It would be very easy. Well, I have 100 pets. You figure a little less than that. It'd be fairly easy for me. However, when I had 5 groomers and we were doing 40 dogs a day, there was absolutely no way for me to keep up with everyone, remember everything, take notes, and do all of that. There's just no way. So being trapped to your phone, whether that is email, text message, having your computer, etc., doesn't allow you to live life. If you are constantly answering phone calls or returning phone calls or playing tag, you are missing out on clients. You're creating a level of unprofessionalism. And also, let's be real here. How are you supposed to enjoy moments? How are you allowed to just be present with friends or family if you are constantly answering your phone or checking your phone? And we do that already for personal, never mind with business. I really hate when I hear business owners. Now, again, I agree. In the very beginning, in the first 6 months, in the first year, even in the first 2 years, depending upon what your business model is, you're going to be more available than you want. You're going to be available probably 60 hours a week between grooming and doing all these other things because you're essentially doing 2 or 3 people's worth of job. However, the goal is to slowly outsource that, whether that's through technology or whether that's to a person. I would rather you guys pay someone like a virtual assistant, again, they're much cheaper than traditional employees, to answer the phone and book appointments. Now, that person personally for me is not going to give the response I want. So unless if you have a scripting system that works, I wouldn't personally suggest that, but it's better than you constantly having your phone, answering calls during dinner, stopping a movie with your family to go do something, or even not being able to enjoy your day off because you have to answer the phone. Hi, Ashley. Hi, Lynn. Good to see you guys here. So here are some ways to communicate your office hours. The simplest way is to have them at your voicemail. So I personally, and you have to decide what kind of business you are. You'll hear two ideals in business, and this really depends on your brand. There are some businesses that say never let the phone get to voicemail, and there are some business models that you only let your customers go to voicemail. And there's benefits to both. And this is really where a business coach or somebody who understands branding or understands business models can tell you which one is better for your business. So in the business where you always answer the phone, you are always trying to dig for information. That's where having a really tight-knit script, because you could be easily on the phone with a customer 15, 20 minutes because they love their animal. They want to gush. They want to get to know you. They want to get to know your business. A business like mine, I actually want them to go on the website, and I want them to create a contact form. And when they create that contact form, I'm able to get basic information from them. And by having that basic information, I'm allowed to detect, is this a client I actually want? Is this something I really want to pursue, and how I'm going to approach this client? Now, this means that my office hours are going to be a lot tighter than somebody who is going to be doing just what, it's not really cold calling, but when they call you and you have no information on them. Oh, so let me see. So hi, Turquoise Laura. Hi, Ann. Good to see you guys. Lynn is saying, I limit returned phone calls to the afternoon and use grooming request form to streamline their info. I use a pre-written email template that I can quickly fill in for each inquiry. So Lynn is amazing. For those of you guys that do not follow her, you need to be following Lynn Pillow. She has an amazing cat exclusive boarding and grooming business, and she has really streamlined her business so that she can be a solopreneur where she's able to take care of all the administrative as well as the actual service in a way that is really connective to the client, but is also really able to give them that one-on-one attention with the pet, if that makes any sense. She's really amazing. I mean, she's just a beast. Hi, Shelly. Good to see you. So just like Lynn and I are on a very similar page where we create these things that allow us to save time. Because if you are going to be a solopreneur, again, mobiles, she has a beautiful facility that's actually in her home, not like a shady one, not a banjo one, like an amazing, beautiful, professional setup. That allows her to take less time doing those other things. And if you are in a salon, you can do a lot of these things that allow you to stop paying people so much money to do them or would give you more free time. Aw, Lynn's like, thank you. So consider that. And again, knowing what way is going to work well. A lot of that can be software. I use Mogo. I have used in the past 123 Pet. I know Lynn uses Ginger. There's so many great, amazing industry-specific software that will help you streamline those things, and also having templates when you're communicating with the client. And again, you want to communicate with a template, but still talk to them about something specific. Whether it's dogs or cats, especially if they have a purebred dog or cat, we know the things that when we're communicating with them, that is going to connect with them. I mean, how many of you guys have, for cat groomers, if they have a calico, I always say, I bet she runs the roost. Because you and I all know, there's calitude where that cat is kind of feisty. She's definitely going to be, the queen bee. Or if they have a boxer, I would say like, oh boy, but he's a little ball of energy. And they're like, yeah, he is. Or a beagle, be like, boy, I bet he loves cookies or whatever it is. Like pugs, we all know, hate their feet touch. Something you can add that makes you position yourself as an expert is important. So again, having things like templates, having things like online booking. I have a client right now that is being very overwhelmed by new clients and they're mobile. And so we literally have on their voicemail that they will not contact a client unless if they have an appointment. So that client will make an appointment and do that. I have another client that requires them to fill out a contact form on their website. And once we create that contact site, then they can communicate with them. And that helps cut down time of silly things like, do you have a dog or cat? What is the breed? What is the age? Because again, a lot of us are just taking these phone calls either midday. And I've done it. I have done it. I have answered the call like I'm elbow deep in a husky. And I've got like the Prima going and I'm doing this. And I've got the phone like this. It's like, and you're just like, answer the phone, yeah. And you're like, I have time later today. Or, how about Thursday at 5? And I would take a dry erase marker sometimes and write on the wall the dog's name, whatever the dog breed, their last name, and their phone number. And that is the worst way of doing things. What would have been better is for that client to, have a voicemail and say, hey, if we don't answer, we're either working with a client, or doing something important, we will call. And again, having things like office hours, I would have them tight. I would have them 2 or 3 hours. Now, if you choose to call someone back, and you can also say in your voicemail, things to the effect of, if you are unavailable during our office hours, please let us know what day and time is best to call you back. There are some people that do not work a job where they can answer the phone. That's just the truth. And it could be anything. I mean, I know there are a lot of people that they don't pick what time they have their lunch, or they have a very, crazy schedule. But if they also aren't willing to work within you, and I generally have office hours around the same time, and you can have them during midday, during lunchtime, but again, you're probably going to have that kind of tag, which we want to avoid. Hi, Peter, good to see you. So that's what I want you guys to be thinking about when you're having your office hours. I prefer personally do a lot of things over, text or email ideally, because then I have written proof of what they said. One of my clients, the mobile client, the way that we're doing things is, let's say they're booking online, and then because of everything with COVID, they will then call the client, explain the procedure, answer any questions, do any of that, and then they will send a follow-up email confirming everything. And it does take more time, but that's for the first appointment. And what's nice about that is they talk to the client, they then communicate in writing, and everything's set in stone, and they can add notes. But because they're doing this during office hours, they're able to sit, they're able to shut everything off and just focus on that. Now, if they were trying to communicate with this client in the middle of a day while they were driving, they're not going to be paying attention to that client, and that's going to create more chaos. And the last thing we need is more chaos. Am I right or am I right? So let me give you guys some ideas, and I know we started talking about them because Lynn had amazing ideas, and I was so excited I want to talk about them. But here are some ideas. So for mobile, consider getting and again, this could be for both, but first mobile. Go ahead and consider getting an online software like Mogo. I don't get anything for saying that. Not yet. We'll see. I'll be like, hey, Mogo, I sell your shit. You give me some money. That'd be nice, right? Help grow wealthy grooming. We would like some nicer equipment, please. Although you guys like my light today, the light, you won't even believe how I jerry rigged. You probably would pretty laugh at me. Anyway, I digress. So, with that, you're able to do a lot of things. You're able to create personal forms and figure out what those are. You can also create those with Google Docs. Having scripts is very important. I have a script that I created for my employee because with my employee, I hope that they will remember everything, but they will remember everything if they have a script. And the same thing with me. There are days when your girl's a little tired, and today is one of them days. Today is one of them days. So that's why we have a script, to prompt us things to remember. And it's not just only, the age of the dog. It's also to prompt us about our policies and procedures. Actually, Lynn has a great one that she taught me that I added to mine. And that is, when was the last time the pet saw the veterinarian? I believe, Lynn, and you can tell me if I'm right or wrong, they have to see the vet within 6 months. And what's nice about that is there's a different kind of client who goes to the veterinarian every 6 months to a year versus a client who hasn't seen a veterinarian in 2 or 3 or 4 years. I'm a big fan. Lynn saying Google Docs in my life. Google Docs are so easy to create, and I am tech stupid. Like, I am so bad at tech. I know you're all like, but you go on YouTube. And I'm like, yeah, but every week you guys see me screwing up something. Let's be real here. I do my best. It is what it is. But Google Docs are so easy to do. And they're easy to keep track of. I'm an iPhone person. I'm a Mac person. But I tend to use Google Docs because whether I'm on a Mac or a PC, they're really easy to work with. And I can set if they are public, if I want to send them just with them. They're really nice to send your policy and everything. With Mogo, I actually send their policy through that. They have to sign it when they get an online booking. And in the email, so I have a follow-up email that when they book, it tells them when my office hours are. They only get the phone number after they've booked. Now, obviously, my business is in a different place, and your business model, it really depends upon what it is that you're going for. So Lynn is saying, I do within 12 months because I want them to have a yearly exam. Exactly. If a customer, now, even granola crunchy people are going to go to the veterinarian once a year. I have a great holistic vet. we may not always get the shots that everyone tells us to because we're granola crunchy, but they're still going to the vet for a yearly checkup. Lynn is saying not just a 3 years rabies at Tractor Supply or something. I want to check the health of the cat, not just the rabies day. And again, these are great things. I know we're kind of going off, but in their office hours, it's really difficult for you to collect information if you're taking it on the fly. So again, like I like to know who their veterinarian is because I like to connect. It's really difficult for me if I'm just taking a phone call in between clients, if I'm taking a phone call while I'm doing something else, to then collect this information. Somebody who just gets a rabies shot and does no other veterinary care is definitely not going to be my kind of client. And again, it depends on your client. So I always talk about the Dunkin' Donuts, the Starbucks, and your McDonald's. And for those of you guys that don't know, the reference is that McDonald's sells a coffee for $1. Whether or not you think it's a good coffee, McDonald's is not known for their coffee. Dunkin' Donuts, if you guys don't have them, they're kind of like a Tim Hortons. They're a mid-range coffee place. They sell a coffee for $2 to $4. And everyone who Starbucks is, and I'm a Starbucks addict. I spend way too much on Starbucks. I'm that person waiting in line for an hour when they've closed 10 stores in my state. So I will drive an hour out of the way in a 45-minute long state to wait in line for an hour for my coffee. So those are three very different business models. And they attract different people. Dunkin' Donuts in my area did not close a single store. They left them open. They're just a different business model. And there's nothing wrong with any of the three. It's just very hard to make money in the McDonald's business model. It's all about quantity. And most of us really don't want to live that life. And in the middle, we've got people, there's a happy medium there. You just have to do it really well and really efficiently. And in the Starbucks land, you have to really get good at your customer service skills because you really want to go tell those people to go F themselves, but you can't. And sometimes it's really hard. There's nothing worse. And it's always somebody who spent we all have customers like that where we just wish we could just, some days I wish I had a boss that I could just be like, hey, this person's crazy. You can just smell it on the phone now that I think I've been grooming long enough that I can just smell the crazy on the phone as I'm talking to them. I'm like, yeah, nah, nope. So, and I hope that helps you with mobile ideas. And I know I'm kind of going off, but this is fun. So create those things. And in salon, I understand that you're doing a lot more volume. I know in my shop, we were doing 40 dogs a day. We had a dog in every 15 minutes. It was crazy. And not that these pets were not being taken care of. They were well taken care of. It's just the way we did things. We just were really particular. We were able to get things done quickly. And with that, I had someone their job was dedicated to the front. And even if they're checking in a client every 15 minutes, they can't be returning phone calls. There's no way. And so they were able to only take calls from clients that were in that day. Anybody else waited till the end of the day. And yes, I paid them an extra 2 hours. And it was the last 2 hours because we didn't have any new pets coming in. And everybody would be able to, we actually had a little time set up where no one was getting picked up and no one was getting dropped off. And they were able to do return phone calls and do whatever they had to do. And also at that time, it was a little bit before doing the automatic text messages and emails were really that popular. This is probably 5 or 6 years ago now. And so they did a phone call the night before. And again, now had I gone back to where I was, I would have done things differently. I would have done a text message reminder and or an email reminder. But most of us aren't even checking our email reminders anymore. 6 years ago, I think we were still excited to get email reminders, and now they're just spam. I hate email reminders because I have 1,200 emails in my personal inbox. And then in my business inbox, I don't even want to talk about it. I have probably 2,000 or 3,000, and I have no idea. Half of them are just junk. And if I'm getting constant marketing emails, and then they send me an appointment one. My hairdresser does that, where she sends me things all the time, where she's like selling me things, and then when there's an appointment one, I don't actually pay attention to it because I have all these other ones that are constantly coming in. So I've almost become, what is that called when you constantly see something that you eventually just kind of blot it out? Go ahead and write in the comment below because I can't remember the name of it. But in a salon, you can do beginning of the day, end of the day. Consider having a VA, or consider having them do an email, a contact form. You don't have to return phone calls all the time, and it's becoming more and more uncommon for people to take appointments over the phone. Most people would much rather book online or send an email, or at least fill out a contact form. I know when I do anything, I always gravitate to a place that has online booking because I do not want to play phone tag. I have better things to do. I personally cannot answer my phone when I'm driving. I might take a call from somebody who's in my life, but I definitely cannot book a hair appointment when I'm driving. And I'm certainly not going to book a hair appointment, for myself when I'm grooming. And so we have to think about a client, and unless if we want to be taking phone calls after 5 p.m., it becomes kind of chaotic. And that's where I find for my clients and people in the grooming industry in general, setting an office hour. And you can make it just 2 hours a day or even one long day. I wouldn't do that, but you can do that. And that's the thing is you can do whatever the hell you want because it's your business. Having office hours that make sense for your business is important. And that's, again, where I always suggest consider a business coach. It doesn't have to be me. There are lots of them out there. Make sure they're good because there's plenty of bad people out there. Just as it's like groomers. There's lots of great groomers and there's a lot of shit groomers. And, I know it sounds really negative. It's not. I'm just being a little honest there. But with that, so for instance, let me use the example of mobile. So I have a very demanding clientele. Now, creating boundaries and creating a business, they have learned where my boundaries are. But if I had taken my business model and given it to who I was when I first started my business, my very first business, the Green Paw, it would have been a disaster because I was not mature enough and I did not understand why boundaries are so important. And that's just basically because I love what I do and I adore my customers. And why would I want a text message to wait till the following day? It doesn't make any sense, right? Because you want to answer them because you're treating them like a personal person. You're not treating them like a business. And when you set the precedent that a person can reach out to you whenever they want and you're going to answer them within an hour, that gets very dangerous. It gets very, very dangerous. Because now you may have only 10 clients in the very beginning, and then you may only have 100 clients. But when you get to the point where you're full or getting close to being full, how are you going to answer those clients basically all the time within an hour? Are you going to drag your phone around in the business and answer the phone and text people? It's one thing if it's the clients that are there. Like I would rather a client, if I was in the salon, message me and say, hey, I'm running late. Can I pick up Fluffy at 2? I know I told you to be here by 1, but I'm just stuck in traffic. I'd rather them message me, of course. But what I can't do is have someone text me, hey, can I come in on Thursday when it's Wednesday? And I'm in the middle of grooming all day. I can't take that phone, run up front and book them. And some of you guys that are like, oh, that's not that bad. That's not that hard. It is when you get busy. The busier you get. Now, as you get busier, you're like, I'll just hire someone. Yeah, but now you've got to check the quality of what they're doing. You can't just have groomers hanging out with you, grooming. Most of the time, if groomers were capable of keeping their own standards and were as wonderful as you think they are, they'd own their own business. Now, I'm hoping, and I know a lot of other pet industry people are hoping to build up people who want to be amazing employees. But right now in this industry, if people are not their own business owner, there's generally a reason why. Whether that's they're bad with finances, or they are, a little unreliable, or they tend to have inconsistent quality as far as grooming goes. And a lot of those people just need guardrails, and that is what employment is. Employment, you as a manager is setting those boundaries and those guardrails and making sure your employees are within them. And some people just are always going to need that. So with your clients, you should also start beginning setting those up. You cannot be available 24/7 for your clients. And for some of you guys, that might be really hard. Now, I'm going to go ahead and open this up to any questions that you guys may or may not have. I hope this has been informative for you, and I want to make sure that I've been really clear on why office hours are important. And like I said, there are lots of ways of enforcing them, and you don't have to be necessarily quote unquote clear to the client. You can just keep them. So if you are a business, like I am a business, that really doesn't make a lot of phone calls, then you can just enforce those by simply not replying except during your business hours. So I personally respond to text messages in the morning. I'm an early bird. I get up at 5, so I usually message between 7 and 9. And that is because depending upon when my first client is, I'm generally like getting, I'm already ready, I'm on the road. And my first client's generally around 8:30 or 9. And I won't lie, there's some times in the first appointment where someone's, not running a little late necessarily, but, they know you're going to be there and they're still getting the cat out or whatever. And I can just sit there and I can text people back, just sit there and hang out. And then I do it at the end of the day. When I come back, I get my van clean. And while I'm cleaning out the top to bottom, the whole van, and washing my towels and doing all that stuff, that's when I'm doing those things. And then when I'm done, that phone is gone. It's done. There's nothing else. And then, I have obviously paperwork time and office time of that nature. And I schedule that around how many appointments I have and what's going on with my schedule, because they continue to change. Your business is going to keep evolving. And just keeping those little bits of, I don't want to say information, keeping that kind of schedule will really help create boundaries in your life. I'm almost, he's just, I'm like almost 9. I'm like, no, he is 9. Jesus, I'm getting old. And my son's 9. And because my son is 9, I don't want to, doesn't matter actually. It doesn't matter if your kid's 9 or 3 or 2. You don't want to miss out on time. And at 9, he's gotten worse at asking for my time. And that makes it way more important for me to make sure that I am creating family time with him. Because at his age, he will just let me work myself to death. And that's not the life I want. I want to spend time with him. I want to make memories. And the only way in order to do that is to have work-life balance. And creating office hours is one of those ways that you can easily create work-life balance. So I hope that was helpful, guys. It's really important to me. I forgot to put my background on. How bad is that? Bloop. Oh well. I'll just wish it away. So I want to thank you guys so much for being here. I would love to see you guys join my Facebook group, Savvy Groomer. And we are going to be coming out with a brand new free Facebook group. I have not launched it yet. That'll be launching July 1st. Grow Wealthy Grooming is my membership, and that is currently going through a lot of changes. Very excited. That is also going to be relaunched July 1st, which is super exciting. I love to see you guys here every week. Please keep coming back. If you have any ideas that you want me to kind of talk about or do, please feel free to message me on Facebook. I love to hear these things. You can post below in the comments. Anything that you guys need, I am here for you. I know this has been a tough time. I know a lot of you guys are really struggling, But the more we work through it, the more that we create a life worth living, the happier we all will be. And I know a lot of that is going to be for you guys finding healthy ways in your business to create more time and to create room. You know, you don't have to be a slave to your business. And on the flip side, you know, a lot of the things that we've been told to do just make you exhausted. So I want to be here to help you guys realize your dream, but also be able to keep living your life. Well, guys, I can't wait to see you next week. As always, I am River Lee of the Savvy Groomer. Happy grooming, guys.